We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get 50 after Monday Night Raw?
Good evening from Swansea, South Wales, wrestling fans. I am your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, and we have a hell of a fun show planned for you guys today because we are going to be answering the questions which you guys have submitted to us via our Instagram. So it is going to be a fun one, that is for sure. But also, we have a very fun panel today. I'm excited for this one because we have the return of somebody who's not been on the show for a little while. Somebody who is also often based in South Wales. I'm not sure if he is or he isn't right now, but that man is David Sheldon. How are you, David?
Hello, everybody. It is a pleasure to be back. I'm not currently based in South Wales. I'm very, very excited to be back here discussing the wrestling. It's been a while since I've been on. So, yes, lots of very interesting topics submitted by you wonderful people. So let's get straight into it.
Absolutely. They have submitted some great ones. Plus, of course, David, you are a film critic, and we have a film critic related question. So that is going to be a lot of fun later on in the show. But also joining us today, we have somebody who has been here for just over a month or so now and is already, as I keep saying, a fan favorite. We have the wonderful Angie. How are you, Angie?
What is up, everybody? I'm so glad to be here on this wonderful Monday. It's actually been a little bit since I've had a chance to do a Monday like this, and I'm so glad to see our wonderful returning film critic here. So it's a wonderful day right now. So I am so excited for today's Mailbox Monday, so let's get into it.
Absolutely. And first up, we have a question submitted by a good friend of the show, Jose99, who submitted, I should say, a hot take. And that hot take is Brock Lesnar should join the Vision for War Games. And this is something which I actually predicted in Allison Analysis just a couple of weeks ago, right? Because I was thinking around the time of, what was the last show they did? WrestlePalooza. I was thinking to myself, where is this Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman situation going? Because they're clearly teasing something, and at least I have absolutely no interest in seeing Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman back together again, unless there's something new at the very least. So I reckon what's happening here is Brock Lesnar is being paid off or just joining the Vision for one match at War Games, and that will be it. So Jose99, I agree with your hot take, but David, do you agree?
So I need to give a very diplomatic answer to this question. I've not been on, I don't think, many podcasts since the return of Brock Lesnar and SummerSlam, and his appearance on television is something that I have had many opinions on, have fundamentally disagreed with. With that said, I'm going to give the answer, the question, the answer that it deserves, because you're not here to hear me go on about about the politics of Brock Lesnar. So I am going to give an answer to the question, and the answer I will give is that I can see it happening. I do think it will happen at War Games. I think I agree with you, Ben, that it'll probably be a one-off match, and it will be a sort of big star attraction match with a bunch of, like I said, all of these Vision lads plus Brock against insert all the massive baby faces you can think of: Cena, Reigns, Usos, etc. And I think that will serve its purpose perfectly fine. And then I think we will probably build back then towards, we've heard a few things of Lesnar versus Breakker. I could see them going in that direction for Mania. And there's a few directions that they might go with Brock, none of which I'm especially interested in. But going off the likelihoods, I think that's where we're going. So yeah, maybe I could see Lesnar being on the heel team and getting into a scrap or a scrape with Braun and getting face to face in kind of the two big muscular men butting heads, and that's how we start a build for Mania. I'm not sure, but I think that could be what they do. Either way, I don't think that the Vision is going to win at War Games. I think it probably will go like the Forbidden Door cage match, like was Team Tanahashi. This will probably go to Team Cena.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to be honest, David. I disagree. I think the Vision are going to wipe the floor with everybody at War Games, but I'm interested in that. And also something I'm interested in is exactly what you theorized there, right? Breaker versus Lesnar. A lot of people are presuming Lesnar Gunther for Mania, but Breaker Lesnar, I mean, count me in. I would not complain about that from a purely kayfabe perspective. I think that match would be a lot of fun. And also to your point, David, I mean, we've seen a lot of Brock Lesnar matches at this point. There's very few which, I mean, even if you take out the controversy surrounding him, let's be real, there's very few matches which are that interesting to do with him at this point in his career. But I do think Bron Breakker, along with Gunther, actually, the two which I do have a level of interest in seeing. And Fernando says Brock Lesnar is totally joining the Vision for War Games, and he's saying happy Monday, but also we have a comment here, which hang on a second. We've got a hate comment here as well, and we are going to address this hate comment. It is from Wiblin, who says, sorry to say this, but you guys really don't know what you're talking about. Well, Wiblin, come back in a few weeks' time, and Brock Lesnar will be on that War Games team. At least that's what I think. But Angie, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think on this one?
Honestly, I kind of want to disagree with this. I feel like with Brock Lesnar, it seems like he's just kind of there to just kind of be that antagonist for the fact that, like, we're getting to the point of getting to the end of John Cena's farewell tour here. But, like, it doesn't feel like it really fits here. Like, honestly, just the inclusion of Brock Lesnar just doesn't work with what is trying to be portrayed here. So it makes it to where the storyline kind of feels a little bit like, hey, we just need to include him just because, I guess. I don't know. But honestly, like, I really hope that it doesn't come down to him actually being part of War Games. Honestly, I just hope that it would just be like one of those one-off things, or could possibly be something like, you tried to ruin wrestling, now I'm going to just ruin wrestling for you. That I would look forward to.
Oh, so you were saying continuing the feud with Brock Lesnar? With John Cena, sorry.
Right. Just like not with the Vision per se, but like its own storyline. Like, because I feel like by this point, we've all seen that Brock Lesnar does not like John Cena. So like,
yeah.
So like, it would be really cool to go ahead and see him kind of do his like own separate thing, just not at War Games, you know?
Okay, fair enough. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. I think both of these things are going to intertwine slightly, because I do predict that John Cena is going to be in this War Games match too. Because, Angie, to your point, Lesnar does not like John Cena in the slightest. And I, unfortunately, and I really don't want to see this, but I think we're going to see this, are going to see Brock Lesnar retire John Cena in December. So I reckon maybe these two kind of intertwine.
Might be, might not be, but like, what would be a really good final match for John Cena would be a returning Edge, just for that one, just for that one. Because
I love it.
Because that would honestly be like the icing on the cake. Because it took me a minute, but I went back to look and see, hey, did we already run John Cena versus Randy Orton? We did. It was earlier in the year, but we did.
Yeah.
So the other rivalry there would be John Cena and Edge. So seeing him go from Adam Copeland on the other side of the fence and bringing him over here to WWE just to be Edge one more time, then hey, that would be cool. If it doesn't happen, then hey, it doesn't happen. But it's kind of a I would rather that.
Fair
with
enough.
the biggest rivalry, right?
The famously, universally loved John Cena versus Randy Orton match that I had nothing but nice things to say about.
Oh no, not this again. Not this again. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But look, Angie, I completely agree with you. I prefer Edge versus John Cena a million times over Cena Lesnar again. But he's under AEW contract. WWE keep, trying to poke Tony Khan. He's handling it really well right now, AEW, but no way, in any way, are they going to do WWE a favor right now, just because the way they've been treated, it's just unfortunately not going to happen, even though I wish, I dream that it will. But we've now got a few comments I want to quickly get to, because DCX Warlord has a comment, and his comment is Bronson Reed should retire Brock Lesnar. I mean, look, I've not seen many people say that, but I would not be against it at all. Bronson Reed is clearly somebody they have some very big plans for. I mean, Angie, would you like to see that perhaps?
That actually might work. Now that I'm thinking about it. That
Could
might
be
actually
fun.
work a little bit. It would be a fun thing to watch, but are we there with Brock Lesnar yet? Like, can we start having the retirement conversations now? Like, or is
Please.
it too soon? Like, I
It
feel
probably
like
is too soon.
it might be too soon, at least as far as for retirement goes, but like, I mean, writing him off the air with a really bad injury might be something that we could
You got a
do
cannon.
there.
Fire him into the
Just-
sun. No. But seriously though, I think Bronson has a lot to gain. I think Braun has more to gain from a big angle. At this point, Bronson does. I think Bronson's a bit older. Bronson's very talented. So I've got nothing against Bronson sort of getting that mega push, but I think they will put their money behind Braun 100 times before they put their money behind Bronson.
Well, there we have it, folks. Somebody on Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast disregarding somebody getting pushed because of their rage. Who isn't me? What is this? Can't believe it. It's opposite day.
I would just like to point out DCX Warlord's other comment that's just been posted, which is the right answer.
Right answer is, imagine if John Cena's last opponent is Fred from the old Nickelodeon movies where Cena played his father. I mean, what happened to Fred?
That's actually a good question.
His voice broke. He went on to do other things, and he actually made many. He went on to say, "Yeah, you remember those Fred films? They were rubbish, weren't they? I made those. I made those with no money. I made those like on such a low turnaround. They are. If you've never seen the Fred films, how best to describe them? It is. Remember, we're going to talk about the Smashing Machine. This is the Screaming Machine, and I'm not talking about Fred. I'm talking about me as the viewer, and I'll leave it there.
I loved them as a kid. I haven't watched them since, and I'm not going to. As a kid, I loved them. So they did their job.
Yeah.
The target audience.
Oh my gamut.
But there is one more comment that I want to address. Or actually, Biggs as well in the chat. Shout out to you, shouting out Angie. Absolutely. But there is another comment too, David, which I want to get to. Because DCX Warlord, Arsenal is number 1 in the Premier League. Chelsea FC sucks, Archie. Well, while David might not be Archie, he is a Liverpool fan. And Liverpool, I mean, you guys have fallen apart, David.
We're doing fantastically. Yeah.
Oh,
let's move on,
gosh.
shall we?
I've got to celebrate being in first all I can before we go back to second.
Enjoy the week.
I love being American and not knowing what you guys are talking about. This is great.
I do it just to get revenge on when Clark and Shard or Clark and Anthony start talking about some American sport I don't understand. I never know. But up next, guys, let's talk about something else which I also don't understand, and that is reviewing movies, right? I watch a lot of movies, but when it comes to being a critic or analysis for them, I know absolutely nothing. But The Rock has starred in a new film called The Smashing Machine, and it is opened to after spending a $50 million budget with a $6 million opening weekend. And apparently, I mean, I say apparently, I think you need to do some maths to tell that's not very good, but apparently it's not very good, right? But some people are saying that maybe this film for The Rock wasn't to be a big box office hit and was instead to just try and do well in the Oscars. I don't know, but I do know somebody who does know because he is a film critic. What are your thoughts on all of this, David? Because I know you have actually watched The Smashing Machine.
I did. I watched it last night. So a little bit of background for those who don't know this film. It is a sports drama based on the life of Mark Kerr, based on a documentary from, I believe it was 2002, a very well-regarded documentary called The Smashing Machine. A lot of the scenes are actually directly ripped from that documentary, so they're kind of going for a scene-by-scene reimagining of some of that, and then it kind of branches out a little bit as we go. It is directed by Benny Safdie, for those who may have seen his collaborations with his brother, doing films like Good Time and Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, and other films that took kind of actors that were out of the spotlight, kind of making blockbuster fare and kind of turned them into independent Oscar prospects. Didn't work for Robert Pattinson in Good Time, didn't work for Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, no matter how good they were. This is the clearest that this tactic has been pulled with Dwayne Johnson in Smashing Machine. He is campaigning everywhere for an Oscar. He is trying so hard, and the whole performance, although it is an understated performance from Dwayne, and probably his second best to me behind Moana, his voice performance in Moana, as his best work, is very much, it's an understated performance, but it's still a give me an Oscar role. So it performed okay with critics. Benny Safdie won the Golden Lion at Venice, which is a massively prestigious award. It did for Best Direction. It did not deserve that award because it's not very well directed. I saw it on Sunday. I saw it yesterday. The film is an interesting idea. I think The Rock is very good. I think Emily Blunt is very good. But I think that the issue you face with the film is that it doesn't go anywhere. It just spins its wheels again and again and again and again. You see some fights, some very good fights with Dwayne, which you expect this physicality, and you see kind of the behind-the-scenes life with him and his partner, played by Emily Blunt, but it repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. Again and again and again and again and again. And after about 20 minutes, it goes from interesting to quite dull, and then from quite dull to slightly turgid. Now, it's got better reviews than I would give it. I think that it is a underwhelming work. However, I do think that it is an important film for The Rock. It was never going to achieve financial stability. It's The Rock's worst opening ever. In the history of his career, the second worst being Faster, which was 15 years ago, that I guarantee you nobody's heard of. If you have heard of it, leave it in the comments, because I never had. But it's a bad opening for The Rock, and it might derail his awards chances. But I will say this, he when The Rock did The Final Boss last year, and you had that really grandiose kind of evil villain, you do get some of that in this film. You do see the real kind of nastiness come out of Mark Kerr in certain scenes, and it's the best that The Rock plays. The Rock doing that kind of really nasty character is really, really well done, and he does an excellent job there. So to wrap it up, because I would go on for 20 minutes talking about direction and structure, I think that it is a film that you should see if you're a UFC fan, though it is a film that, if I'm honest, I recommend you just watch the documentary because it's much better, from 2002. And yeah, good work. Nice to see kind of The Rock do something different rather than the same thing every time. But fundamentally, I think falls into a slightly dull, repetitive nature that doesn't really go anywhere. So yeah, it's not a recommendation for me as a film, but if you want to see The Rock go for his Oscar, then by all means check it out.
A fantastic review, David, and Fernando says the same thing as well, that you're a natural at it. You absolutely are. I mean, as you were talking there, I was like, I've got nothing to add to this, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to see it or not, but I think I might just have to.
It's a film to wait. It's a film to see on streaming. I mean,
for sure.
The issue that you have, the film is 126 minutes long. It's 2 hours and 6 minutes, and has and for context, before that, I watched the very, very good One Battle After Another, which is the new Paul Thomas Anderson film, and that was 2 hours and 45 minutes and felt so much shorter. Like by the time you get towards the end of The Smashing Machine, you do feel like you've been there for about 3 weeks, and it's not it's like there is only so much good acting. I will say there are some cameo performances from UFC fighters. So for
Don't do any spoilers.
They're not. They're in the first 20 minutes, but there are.
Oh, okay.
There are like one of the biggies is somebody playing Mark Coleman. I cannot remember the name. I'm not a UFC fan, but he is very good. He is very good in the film, and he might be the breakout of this, if I'm honest, because he did a really good job with Mark Coleman. I won't spoil any more. There are a couple of Easter eggs in there for UFC fans, so I gather, and boxing fans as well. But it is, it's totally solid. It just doesn't really justify its own existence. And again, beyond seeing The Rock imitate Mark Kerr, just watch the documentary, because the documentary is better.
Fair enough. And I've done a quick Google search about that Faster film, which I also had never heard of. And that had a budget of 24 million, so half the budget. But its opening weekend was 8.52 million. And like you said, this was 15 years ago. So flipping heck, this performed badly.
It did perform badly. I mean, it performed badly in a bad week. I mean, it also performed badly in a week that Taylor Swift came out. And while
that's true.
So look, Taylor Swift's film is a bunch of DVD extras and made a ton of money because it's Taylor Swift. It's a film, but you'd think there wouldn't be a crossover. And I was amazed going into the film to see that I was one of about 5 people in the cinema. For a film about the UFC, which I thought had a really strong... Granted, there's very little UFC in it. It's mostly Pride, which is the Japanese MMA company from the late 1990s. So there's you don't see him in a UFC ring. It's not like you remember F1 earlier on this year that had all the production behind it. And I'd be interested to see if UFC made a film with the whole 9 yards behind it, that it was like F1 UFC, whether that would make more money off the back of, hey, here's all the recognizable things. Because the Smashing Machine is very sort of low-key, kind of, it's going for a fly-on-the-wall documentary made fiction, which is why I think it doesn't really work. But it is just, like I said, The Rock is good, and it is kind of worth seeing if you're interested in wrestlers turned actors like I am, to see him try and do something different. But I do think he is going to be the major villain of the Oscar season, because sometimes you can try far too hard, and no matter how good you are, he is everywhere. He may as well walk onto the screen with a plaque that says "Give me an Oscar," like strapped to him. And one of two things will happen: it'll either work, or I could see another situation where, when Adam Sandler didn't get nominated for Uncut Gems, which was the last film by this filmmaker, he basically went, all right, then fine, and went back to doing 5 years of the exact same thing he was doing before, which was terrible comedies. So because this performed badly, if it doesn't get him the award success, he's obviously got a Scorsese film lined up, which is great, but I think he will go back to big muscle man Rock, which we don't want, because I think The Rock can do some interesting stuff. And also amazing makeup. Although there is, and again, this is in the trailer. At one point, his head is shaved. Mark Kerr's head is shaved for the latter half of the film, and he just looks like The Rock. It's just
he becomes The Rock.
but yeah, it's very entertaining. But it is good makeup.
You can't escape it, no matter what. The Rock becomes The Rock in every single movie that he does. But Eric Rodriguez says the movie was a smashing disaster. The Tough Fairy was better. And Fernando says, I saw it and it was trash. Wow.
Yeah, no,
just wow. But hopefully, what is not trash is what we have lined up for you guys this week at Wrestling Republic, because we do have some fantastic content. It started today with the Wrestling Republic podcast, me, Shard, and Clark. Earlier on this morning, it went up talking about Andrade, who should join the Vision, and an awful lot more. Then tomorrow, the new Allison analysis debuts, where I give my 5 key findings from this week in professional wrestling. Then on Wednesday, I am going to be talking about and breaking down what I call the year of AJ Styles 2016. Then on Thursday, Dez is going to join me to do the top 10 WWE returns of the past 2 decades. And then on Friday, as always, we have the top 5 takes of the week from the daily broadcast. And then on Saturday, it is going to be Allison Analysis, a special Crown Jewel analysis. But as for the daily broadcast, we have a stacked lineup this week for you guys. But also, and this is the one change, this Saturday it will be a post show following Crown Jewel. So that will be a lot earlier in the day, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. So basically immediately following Crown Jewel. But without further ado, let's get straight back into this mailbag, because the next question is submitted by the Real Som 2, who says Becky Lynch has had the best title reign of 2025, hands down. Angie, I want to get your thoughts on this one out of the gates.
I wouldn't say the best, honestly. If anything, I think out of all of the reigns that she's had, I feel like 2025 kind of feels a little lackluster, especially for the fact that this is Becky Lynch we're talking about. As far as for the women's division, I guess she's had the best reign, but not of all time, not for 2025. I honestly think that maybe it could have been like a little bit better. Actually, if anything, it could have been a little bit more on the up and up. But it's more storyline heavy as for her right now. But maybe that might turn around a little bit. Hey, maybe I might eat my words after Crown Jewel. I don't know. But right now, I feel like Becky Lynch had better in the past. Heck, I almost enjoyed the whole Becky Two Belts reign better than the one that's happening this year. That might be a little bit of a hot take from me, but you know what? It's honestly, like, I think it'll be to a point where we'll actually see her get to a point where it'll be just as intriguing as before. But yeah, 2025, nah, I'd have to disagree.
Here's the thing though, Angie, my reaction was the exact same as yours. And then I thought to myself, hang on a second, especially on the main roster, I actually don't know if anybody's really had a good reign this year. I mean,
No.
maybe Io Sky, but that was like a couple of months.
Is this a WWE question or a wrestling question?
If it's a wrestling question, it has to be Mercedes Moné, surely.
I mean, Goto for me, but it's Goto
Oh,
on Moné.
if I Goto.
But that's I mean, Monet's had a longer run, but Goto had a superb few months as champion with a perfect beginning and a perfect ending. But in WWE, I mean, yeah,
it's a low bar.
It is a low bar, to be honest. But like, Becky's been great and she's done some really great work.
Yeah.
But I'm looking around the rest and I'm like, I mean, it's not John, is it? You know,
No.
so like, it's not John. Io not really done much. Yeah, it's just, I mean, Sammy's on course too if he keeps putting on top quality matches every week.
That's true.
But
only a few weeks his reign has been, but it's been banger after banger after banger.
So it's a difficult question to answer really. But I mean, I had the same feeling. I initially went no, and then I mean, from a WWE perspective, then I looked and I went, well, who else is there?
Yeah, it's really bad because now we actually can sit here and say, like, no, just this year has just been really lackluster for champions. At least WWE side of things. Like, Mercedes Moné is just having the most fun right now.
And a lot, I mean, I know it's funny, a lot around the wrestling world as well. Like, you know, there are been some top quality champions this year. You know, I think Hangman's having a great run at the minute. You know, but then you start to look at, like, you know, they've kind of been passing the New Japan belts around House of Torture, and people who couldn't hold tag belts, people who couldn't hold it for more than 3 seconds. You know, some of the women in Japan have had good runs, but like,
Saya
Kamatani, who comes to mind as well, to be up there for that.
To be honest, she might actually have had the best title reign this year. That might actually be the answer, in my opinion.
Like Ozawa was it Ozawa? Ozawa Noah had a really good run for a while, and then it got lost in a bit of a shuffle between. I think Keno had it for a bit, then Kenta's got it now. Unless he's lost it, I can't remember. I haven't watched Noah in a little while.
I haven't. I truthfully haven't watched Noah in like a
but Ozawa had a good run. And with that belt kind of being that obnoxious heel with the faction around him at the top, bit Bullet Clubby, but more obnoxious Bullet Club, which is hard to do. But yeah, WWE wise, Oba, not really. He was given filler defenses for ages and went on an eternal feud around everybody. You know, eternal feud with Trick Williams just to get to him losing the belt to Ricky Saints. Yeah, I'm
Not many good
I
options.
can't think of it. Not to say they've been, not to say they've all been wretched by any means, but like standout, great, top quality runs. I'm not seeing it.
I must be in the twilight zone because it seems like the best reign so far has been Sami Zayn's. That feels
It's
weird
recent,
to
but you're right.
say.
Yeah,
It feels weird to say, but like he's the one that's having like having a really good title reign right now. He's going the old fashioned I'm a working champion kind of thing. Like, hey, I enjoy the working champion gimmick. Just being able to like be like, hey, I'm gonna defend this thing every single week, because then it allows us to have like those call-ups come up, and also have like those people who haven't had the spotlight for a while. They'll be able to like kind of get a feel of the crowd a little bit and see, and like maybe at some point like they'll get like that new storyline that'll allow them to be able to like really be rocketed up to maybe like mid-card instead of having to be a jobber again. But like, of all people to do it, Sami Zayn's probably the best choice for this. I'm actually glad that he's champion, because he makes for a good I'm going to defend my belt every week kind of champion, because then it'll put people over. It'll get people seen. I think honestly, he's a really good choice for this.
It's amazing what happens when you get one of the best wrestlers in the world and put them against other best wrestlers in the world every week and go, there you go.
Exactly.
And it works.
It's not always that. It doesn't always have to be complicated. WWE.
There's a comment here, Donnie, and I'm gonna really complain at you for a second. You go back and watch the earlier part of this video, right? Because you're saying the only people goofing on it are the ones who haven't seen it. This man right here is a film critic, and he didn't like it. Go back and watch. But
if you love the Smashing Machine, I understand why. It is not a film, like no film you should be trashed on for liking if other people don't ever.
I just like trashing on Donnie. That's what I do.
But I understand. For me, it was, and I'm the exact target audience who likes combat sports, likes the director, and likes that style of film, and I was quite significantly bored. So, but I will say there is one thing I forgot to add. There is an early scene in the film there's a bit involving a shop, like a food cart. For those who've seen it, it's a one big tracking shot, and it's the best acting The Rock's ever done. And that scene is worth watching. You can kind of stop the film there because you've seen everything, because then the cycle starts again. But that one scene, and it's one big tracking shot from the ring, backstage, up an elevator and through, is genuinely excellent acting from The Rock. Can we have more of that, please, Dwayne?
Donnie did love it. But guys, we do have some breaking news right here, because as you all know, our policy with reporting on dirt sheets and stuff here at Wrestling Republic is we don't do it if it's storyline related, but if it's news related where, you kind of got to cover it, we've got to cover it. And right now we have some breaking news from Fightful Select, and that is that Santos Escobar will be leaving WWE tonight when his contract expires, and he will be available as a free agent for bookings starting tomorrow.
He was still hired? I'm so sorry. That was horrible to say, like right out the back. I am so I didn't know he was still on payroll. Like, I thought he was chilling or something, or I thought he was out with an injury or something, because I
think he was injured for a bit. I think
because they keep doing this. It keeps happening to where it's almost like they're trying to give them more reason to want to leave, so that way they don't have to worry about trying to go through a reason of, hey, why do we have to fire them, because like this keeps happening every time when there is a wrestler that is not being put in the forefront, or if there's even something to where they're not getting the reaction that's going to make them money, they just shove them off to the side. They stay in catering, probably eating some cake or something, but like they're not really doing anything. They're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, trying to figure out when are they going to have their chance to have some sort of storyline. And then bing, bang, boom, we have this happening. So like, what's happening? What are we doing? I am so sorry. That was a whole rant for
you know
absolute-
what, Angie? I am loving that rant because you are exactly right right there.
To give the other side of
Yeah.
it, I love Santos. I think Santos is fantastic. If they're not, I agree with Donnie's comment there, which starts with it's good for
It's
Santos.
good for Santos. They don't have a spot for him. He can go and make a name for himself and prove they made a mistake.
Should they have a spot for somebody like Santos Escobar? Yes. Does it ultimately mean that I get to go and watch Santos Escobar have top quality matches around the world? Yeah. I mean, for me, I would not go to AEW right now. We do not need any more people in the Don Callis family.
He's joining it. That was the next question. He's joining it tomorrow night or Wednesday. Tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'm the biggest defender of the Don Callis family, and I like the fact that there's loads of people in it. And even I'm now starting to think it's taking the mick. So, like, for me, Japan, and I know people will. I know people will want him to go to CMLL or Mexico, but for me, like Japan, Noah, people like that would be crying out for somebody as good on the mic, as good in the ring as Escobar. Or let him do a world tour, or let him do something. I don't want to see Escobar tied down. And the thing with Santos is, as is always the case, as is the case with any wrestler that leaves, they can do whatever they think will make them the most money. Right?
Yeah.
This is me as a fan speculating. I want him to have the best for him and his family. So, if it means going to the next, if he means tie himself down to a contract, absolutely do it. But I would love to see him do a world tour.
He is 1,000%. I honestly mean this, right? Okay, let me be real. Really, I'll give you a real number, guys. I think there was a 95% chance he's on Dynamite tomorrow, and I think there's a 60% chance he's in the Don Callis family. Whether he's actually signing or it's a short-term deal, Tony Khan right now, and this is smart, it's tactical, it's the way he should be handling things, is that he is not, he's not biting the bait of WWE when they're taking shots. But what he is doing is the second that he can do something to take a little bit of momentum from them, such as taking one of their talents the day they've left and putting them on, on TV, so that way people can tweet about it while NXT is going on. I mean, look, he's going to do it, and it's the smart thing to do. Yeah. And yes, he is 41. In Ben News, that is 90. But the fact is, I'm only joking. I'm looking forward to it.
I do just want to bring something up, by the way. I'm sorry. I have to. I have some spray here. It's a spray bottle. I just bought it today from the local shop. I just realized if you go to the back, you read the fine print. It's actually an invitation to join the Don Callis family. That's where we are now. You see,
everybody's in it.
It's in the small print where it says it's a trade. You can trade in the bottle and yourself to the Don Callis family, and I can swap me out with Trent Beretta. So, and then it happens again, and then it's somebody else, you see, and that's how they come on and off TV. It's fantastic. Yes, absolutely, Don. I will. Thank you.
It's the only faction which somehow grows in numbers when somebody gets injured. It's honestly amazing. But up next, guys, we do have to quickly fly through our last topic of the day because we have one final question. If I can find the graphic, yes, I can, because our last question of the day is submitted by @bo.aiden over on Instagram, who says Andrade will be an AEW afterthought by 2026. But we just discussed Santos Escobar, the fact that potentially he could join AEW tomorrow, potentially join this Don Callis family. The thing with Andrade is no matter where he goes, he's in this cycle of kind of being an afterthought wherever he goes. But then when he does get a chance to wrestle, he shows that he can do it. Then he goes to the next segment and you kind of already forget how good he is like 10 minutes later. I mean, Angie, I want to get your thoughts on this one out of the gates.
Okay. All right. After finding out like what was happening with Andrade, it's to a point where it's just like going back and forth between the two companies is not doing him any good. There's at this point, like, you may as well throw in a third company at this point, maybe a fourth company or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe something will stick for him that'll actually meet all of his needs and everything like that. I'm sorry. I'm sounding a little spicy after that. El Idolo, what are we doing? What are we trying to accomplish? That's my question, because we're going back and forth, and it seems like between the two companies, you're not satisfied. What is it that you need? Like, are you not getting enough screen time? Because with WWE, I understand that. Like I said before, yeah, you guys were just twiddling your thumbs at this point. But if not that, what was happening with you in AEW? Was it the same song and dance there? Like, I honestly, like, I would think that with someone of your caliber, it should be easy for you, right? And that's my character. That's my little insight on my own little character there. I'm gonna go ahead and stop that right there. But because like I do like El Idolo a lot. I do love him in the ring. I love watching him work. But the question kind of still stands. Like, what's the formula that's going to keep you in one company?
I'm actually going to defend him for a minute here, because I said the same thing to Shard earlier today on Wrestling Republic's podcast. But at the end of the day with Andrade, he isn't somebody who's ever requested his release. Every single time he has been released or his contract has expired. And in the case of AEW last time, I think it was clear that he left the company to go to WWE to be with his wife, Charlotte Flair. They then got divorced. Obviously got fired, certain things happened, whatever. But to be fair to him, I don't really think one time he's actually, left the company because he's upset with his booking, per se.
So, with that in mind, if that's the case, then, like, I guess with the fact that he decided to follow his wife only for the divorce to happen, that sucks. Like,
no, I know.
That absolutely sucks. Like, I know I'm laughing about it because, like, I'm laughing because of the fact of how absurd it is. Like, that's
it's dreadful.
It's dreadful because of the fact, like, you get to a point like, hey, I just want to be able to have more time with my spouse. I want to be able to make this work because of the fact that we both have schedules that would make it to where we would be missing each other. So yeah, that move of trying to like have that moment only for it to end in divorce anyway. It sucks. Like, it seemed like a lose-lose scenario. So I completely understand where you're coming from with that one.
That's why I honestly think Tony Khan's hired him out of the gates here. I think he's like, look, things clearly went bad for you in WWE in the end with, the allegedly wellness checks. He failed. But I think Tony Khan's given him a chance because of the circumstances. But David, what do you think? Will he be an afterthought in a year's time?
Well, look, I mean, we've just gone into some really serious questions about divorce. So to lighten the mood, to talk about Andrade through the reference of my cleaner that I bought today, bang, and El Idolo's gone. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, I think that Andrade is great. I think that he has been pinged back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between companies, has really diminished his stock because it doesn't feel like he can ever get a grip anywhere, exactly as Angie said. So I'm just kind of going to go along for the ride with Andrade. I hope we get some good matches out of him. I hope we get a nice storyline out of there. I want to see Andrade and Kenny Omega, like I do. So, if I can just watch Andrade do some good wrestling, I'll be a happy man. And, good on him for getting the coin, I suppose, and for getting that, continuing to get employed, no matter how many times he jumps back and forth. I think he might be an afterthought by 2026. He might jump back to WWE again. Who knows? But let's get some good matches along the way, I suppose.
Royal Rumble 2027, who says no? But on that note, guys, that does bring us to the end of the show. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Eric Rodriguez as well, with a few saying, yeah, the series with Carmelo Hayes was brilliant, but it does bring us to the end of the show. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, David. And thank you to all of you. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow for the Raw review. Peace.